Welcome back, strategy gamers, and we are continuing our achievement gameplay, and by popular demand it is Egypt. Muhammad Ali's ambition requires starting as Egypt, forming Arabia and holding Thrace. This should be fairly straightforward, a little bit of luck required, but not a huge amount. Arabia, 21 provinces, you get it by going into cultures, form nation, Arabia. So we start with 11 of the 21, you need to hold 16. Hejaz, Hail, Nej. These 5 down here are Yemen, Oman, Truncal States, and then there's 4 in Iraq. Getting that land, not too difficult. Britain does have an interest in this area and it will cause some complications for us. It's not too difficult. The bigger thing is that Pan Nationalism is required, which is a tier 3 technology, and we start with piss poor innovation, only 50 from our 21 innovation. We don't even have all of the tier 1 technologies, so getting down to Pan Nationalism isn't going to be straightforward. Let's research banking out the gate. Now, we start with a big technology advantage over the Ottomans, who we have 2 more years of truce. We want to keep an eye on that block so we can dictate the conflict. 1st of January 1838 is when that conflict will begin. Line infantry giving us our 130 battalions of power projection of 836. Their 145 only give them a power projection of 275. Big advantage. Everyone in this area here is running irregulars, so we have a huge advantage. Industry wise, Lower Egypt, Cairo starts with a level 7 arms industry, producing 105 small arms and artillery, which puts us in a pretty good domestic supply position. We have some paper, some textiles there as well, and then we have some glass, more textiles up in this Syria, Aleppo area. We start with 46 possible wood with only the 4 logging camps down the blue line built. Iron available in Eritrea, and in Palestine we start with some coal available in Lebanon and Adana. There is lead available in Sinai. There's sulfur available in Lower Egypt. All of the resources required for industry for the Industrial Revolution exist in our starting location. Now, some of them not great populations or not great quantities. That's perfectly fine. We can acquire more sulfur in Hejaz and Iraq. We can acquire more lead in Yemen, and we can get more iron down in Somaliland. I think we're going to open up with some diplomatic plays down the Horn of Africa, because no great power point of view starts with any interests down here, so we can do this for free. Deficit on taxation capacity in our capital, so we want to get that built. So we'll up our construction, say 3 more levels, then we'll get 2 more levels of government administration to give us some headroom right to the top. So construction, government administration, tooling, then wood, iron, coal, lead, sulfur, dye, silk. We're going to switch vineyards and fruit. We're not going to use any tools in our construction. We'll go secular. Budget point of view, up taxes 1, bring in some consumption taxes. Services and tobacco. From a laws point of view, the government starts with autocratic monarchy with right of assembly, pretty decent. Racial segregation, better, not great. Freedom of conscience, better, not great. Professional army, pretty good. No police, no school, no home affairs, no health system, closed borders. But per capita taxation and agrarianism is a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, we have slave trade and serfdom, which will need to be rolled back. There's support straight out the bat to get dedicated police force. We need to weaken the landowners to really make any major changes. I think migration controls is one of the areas we could look to make an improvement, which requires petty bourgeoisie coming into government, and we could look to maybe do that change. But I think the change to make is to bring the landowners in to increase our legitimacy and push through dedicated police nice and quickly. From a market point of view, I think we cancel the luxury furniture, luxury clothes route, early doors, and instead bring in some iron if we can, bring in a small amount from the Ottomans, and we can bring in some wood we have a big shortage on from the Ottomans as well. This barracks up here isn't on the latest technology, and they've backed down on that. We want to improve relations with the French, Austrians, and then Great Britain has not got itself in a war yet. Move on to our next territory. We go for Harar here, which has 750,000 people and a lot of arable land, so we can get plenty of dye, tobacco, tea. But they've backed down, start incorporating, and move on to the rest of the state. Wello interested in joining them. This province up here. Oh, missed. Oh, it looks like they're actually going to go to war with us. So we'll mobilize our son and send them to the one front. Nope, they backed out. So we now have all of Ormio, all of Eritrea. Let's look at our bad boy points are -37. We're still in the first year, so we got plenty of time before the Ottomans come calling. Look at a play against our subject. Start getting into the Yemen. The Ottoman Empire probably get involved in this. Let's wait until we get a play that we can control against the Ottomans. So the next most populous place down here is Kaffa. Let's conquer Kaffa. 15 bad boy points for this. There's our dedicated police force. Is this going to go to war? Both of these people, and it is going to work. Let's let it tick closer so they don't back down. Mobilize our son onto this front. We got several fronts here, so another one down here. There is war. This should be absolute bloodbath. We've got a general on all three fronts. Huge tech advantage over them. We've already overrun one of the territories. There's Gojum. Incorporate that. That's the state of Gondor. Fully occupied this part of the Somaliland we were at war with. They've surrendered. Start incorporating them. Fully occupied Kaffa, which will give us some of Amra. We'll start incorporating them as well. Some big early expansion for us. We've acquired lots of new resources. So we come into buildings, make sure everything is produced in the way it's supposed to be. So we're running a bit of a deficit while we build up to begin with. Get the tooling going. I think this is our second tool plant, is it? So we have one already. Our bad boy points are now 75 and we are approaching the end of 1838. We're not going to spend any more. We're going to cancel improving relations with the Austrians because we want maximum bad boy decay. We now have an Ethiopian army we can recruit. We'll take the cautious villager. They're probably not on the right technology, so make sure they're flipped over. Bit of a tax deficit here in the capital. Bring in another consumption tax. There's banking, it's pretty useful for us. Military. Grab this tier 1s, we tier 2s are cheaper. We'll have our truce, January 1st. There we go, pulse. We are going to dictate the terms of this war. We are going to start a play to conquer Eastern Thrace. There's the paddle steamer. Get fieldworks, extra defense. They've backed down and we have just taken their capital. We now have a huge surplus of bureaucracy, but a big deficit money because our government wages and our government costs are skyrocketed. We don't need 10 levels of government administration. Knock that down to 5. That tick for a second. Still too big probably. Drop it one more. Naval base, port, construction center. We don't need the construction center. Military on the right footing. Just like that, we got the Ottomans to back down. We dictated the course of that battle. We chose timing and how it would play out. We told them we're taking your capital and they just caved. And that was a lot of bad boy points that came with. We're now over 100, so we definitely need to chill. We're going to come to Great Britain and we're going to improving relations. We're going to leave it there. We don't want to go below 500 because 500 is the magic point for the maximum infamy decay each week. Look at the land we've taken in the south here. There is a taxation deficit issue down here in Ormio. Get you some government administration. Then I think we want to queue up some dye. It'll come out of our investment pool. We still are running a deficit because our costs are just too high. So we'll get rid of the naval base in Constantinople. Keep the university. We need paper. Big paper deficit. Big wood deficit. Let's start importing some wood. So we're using a huge amount of wood in our shipping. Our economy is not in a great place. The French want to cut us down to size. Oh, who's willing to join us? Prussia. I'm not going to Praia. So let's bring the Prussians in on our side for an obligation. Prussians have joined us. Let's add recognition. The Russians are now joining the other side as well. Oh, this is getting ugly. Military, mobilize everyone, raise the conscripts. Actually, this was probably premature. This war is not actually happening in our land. This war is going to happen over in their land. Send one of our generals overseas. Let's see if we can try a naval invasion of Algiers. No French opposition. We've landed into Algiers. We're going to take some of French land in Algiers, which then means we have ticking war score against the French. Let's be bold and we're into Corsica as well. Thinking, oh, we're holding on. Are we holding on? No. Gonna try and land in Corsica. Preparing a battle for a new front. Fail to land. Okay, French are now negative. French are overrunning the Prussians on the western front. Stand down. Stop taking attrition. Capitulation on the Prussians. We're just going to wait this war out. Russians are out. Wait for the French to concede. Still holds French territory. We're dropping 2.6. Oh, war's going to be over. There we go. Recognition of Egypt and war reps. Look at our economy now. Bring this back. Bring these back to the middle. Scrap close tax. Scrap the services tax. We'll let our debt pay down. Resume building. We are getting 35k a week from the French. We are now recognized. So when we get our prestige up high enough, up to at least the American level, we can become a world power. Population has grown from 9 million at start to 14 million. Conquering Thrace certainly helped. And our GDP has grown from 9 million to 12 million. So we're still 12th in the world from a GDP point of view. And we're now 11th in the world from population point of view. Export wine to the Russians and the French. Import grain from the Spanish. We're going to import paper if anyone has it. Not really. Import iron. Hopefully someone has some iron. There's a bit coming from Austria. Any tools going? No. Artillery? Not really. There's fieldworks, doing quite helpful in that last war. Bureaucracy, pretty good. Central banking, reduce our loan interests. Central archives, improve our taxation efficiency. Go for that. We're not building a huge amount at the moment. We have 200k investment pool. So what I'm going to do is some dye, some livestock, fishing as well. All that will come out of the investment pool. We should have some dye now built. We do. It's not hugely profitable, but to make that a bit more profitable, we'll start spending dye in our textile mills. And we can spend silk if we produce some silk yet. Move that silk to the top of the queue. 8 weeks until we have silk. There's silk. Come back into our textiles and start spending silk here. Then we start making more clothes, and we'll also crucially make some luxury clothes. Dyes are still not hugely profitable, but we have more textile mills up here that we can shift over as well. Glassworks can spend some dyes as well, make porcelain. We made our first lead mine. We have come into the glassworks and shift that to leaded glass. Deficit of lead, so it needs 19. We're currently making 3. Let's import 20 from the Austrians. Not making enough glass. Let's shift a few of our home urban centers over to glass. And we have become a great power, so we can declare more interest. We will do so from a trading point of view. Yeah, we're going to bring in a load of grain from Qing, British artillery, American tools. Shift our wheat farms over to harvesting tools, so we start using some tools. Let's make some more lead. I don't think we have a purpose for sulfur just yet. Now, where are we at from a bad boy point of view? We're now just notorious. We have relations with the Russians. We have relations with the Austrians. We have greener grass in our capital. Look at politics, bolstering the intelligentsia. Bolster. Now, we can't suppress the landowners because they're in government, but we can keep them out of government and bring, say, the rural folk in. We can start suppressing the landowners and then have a play at a law that the rural folk are interested in. Here's mass communication, gives us more authority. So there is a revolution starting by trying to get rid of serfdom. Will trigger a war. Don't think we could really justify this at this point. So I think we need to stop enacting serfdom. That then should dribble away. There's central archives. That's really helpful for us. Banking is probably the direction we should be going, but if I look at from a production point of view, probably something like mechanical tools is going to have to... Sorry, we still haven't got intensive agriculture. That's the one we desperately need. Ban both of our glass. Ban this paper. No, we're not using enough tools. Okay, so let's fix that using tools. There's the thing for agriculture, so it's huge. We come into Middle Egypt. Chemical plants started, and we're going to come into shift our farms to use fertilizers and our livestock ranches to generate more. And then we're going to make some more livestock ranches down in the Horn of Africa. From a technology point of view, it's time to get mechanical tools. Deficit, we're now making money. We're back in the credit now. Let's look at from buildings point of view. Let's start making more. Make more iron. Needs tools. Make more tools. More iron. Lead and tools are a problem for us. We taking any Eritrea? Not yet. Sorry, not Eritrea. Let's conquer Irish here so we can get access to more lead. Tools is a desperate shortage for all of our economy here. There's some more tools. We're now making 140, but still really expensive. Dig back down. Can now make some more lead down here. Incorporate. Bad boy. We're still notorious. We don't want to do a huge amount more. 52 battalions are now in reserve. So one of our generals, our son died. That is quite problematic. He was a really good general. So there is a supply requisition defensive strategist bandit, or there's an experienced defensive strategist bigot. We'll go for the meticulous bandit. And then I think we need to promote one of these others. We will promote Charles. Let's shift a few of our places to using coal streetlights, which will make our coal plant up here in the Lebanon a bit more profitable. Fully employed. Joshua's intelligentsia and trade unions are in favour of school reform. Take the rural folk out and bring in the industrials. Look like they're the biggest. Make them schools and bring in private schools. There's nationalism. All that construction is coming out of our pool, but that's fine. We've 1.3 million in gold reserves. Going to go for encourage manufacturing in our capital. There's mechanical tools. This is really useful. Sulfate pulping, precision tools, slaughterhouses, really big tech improvements here for us. So let's look to make sure all of the territories we've acquired are using the PMs that we want. Shipyards are supposed to be split. Now, if we had steel, we could start making steel tools. So that's a reason to get steel mills built. We'll come to our paper here and we can now shift this to sulfur, which will give us a lot more paper and make sulfur more viable. We'll spend some coal to get more sulfur as well. If we look, this is now viable to grow and we'll expand it. From a tech point of view, railway is realistically the big gainer for us here. Check out where we're at from a peace point of view with the Ottomans. We have no treaty with. We're at 64 bad boy currently. We'll be looking at 18 to take more parts of Thrace, and it looks like Italy would side with them. So we may need some allies or wait for them to declare on us. We'll check their military strength. They're still irregular. Italy is now formed. They do have line infantry, so they're comparable with us. Let's get the rest of Yemen here. Oh, we do need to let our bad boy come down. But it's only 3.5 though. They give in. Got the rest of Qatari. Britain has decided to side with them here. So they now are confident in this war. He here is mobilizing an offensive planner. I'm getting him to blitz this front as quick as possible before the British can join it. And we have now fully occupied the rest of Qatari. There is no other fronts. Waiting for them to GP out. Only suffering -12 a week for full occupation. Like, it's a bit unrealistic, isn't it? -18, -30, yeah. Oh, British are trying to invade us, which is the mobilized general. This guy. We're pushing them back from the landing. General Ismet Pasha is defending Alexandria, preventing an English landing, and there is the end of that war. Now there's 2 more bits of Yemen that we want, so let's just move quickly. Now, 12 bad boy points for this. Might be a bit much. 66. Yeah. We'll wait on that one. Unproductive trade. Oh, not the Ripper. Industrial boom. Service industries throughput. Manufacturing throughput in Lower Egypt, our capital. That's really good. And we'll start making some steel. And we have population in Bormio, so we'll make 2 steel down here. And as soon as the first one's built, we'll start making steel tools. Improve relations with Britain, with France. Stop improving with Russia. So we do need to keep... Yeah, we'll stop with France. We'll stop with Britain as well. I do want the maximum infamy decay. Need more dye. Now to Ormio. We now have achieved the atmospheric engine journal entry. Or gain 2,500 progression to the railroad, which we will take. And then that has triggered the railway being researched. Motor industry. Eastern Thrace and the Blue Nile are the areas that have the most population free. So let's start building motor industry in Constantinople. Let's start making some paper in Gondor. Let's start making tools in Amra. Oh, we have our first steel mill. So now we need to start using that steel. And the first place we can use that steel is in our tooling. This will use 120 to make 120 more tools. So now we come back down here. This should generate a huge demand for it, which should look to expand quickly. Growing, growing, growing. There's organized sports, 10% more prestige. Pan Nationalism now 12 years away, so we need to get some more of these Tech 2s. No central banking. Gold and paper still expensive. Steel was expensive, but we're now got 2 levels of steel, and it is starting to employ up, now making 90. And come look at our tool. So they are underpopulated at the moment. Tools and paper are expensive. We're looking to make both of those, tools and paper. Making more dye. Okay, so we now have coal problem. Come and make some coal quickly, and we can make an improvement process in our steel mills now. More coal. We need more coal before we can do that. Turks are getting bolshy again. We have private schools. That is absolutely brilliant news. So now we have a slight bureaucracy deficits. We'll just resolve that real quick, and we're down below 50 infamy as well. So we'll quickly just come in from a trading point of view. We'll find a trading route that isn't doing a huge amount for us. We'll just cancel it. This fish one here is only making us 146 tariffs, so we'll cancel that. That gets us positive, and then we'll build another government administration in Ormio, which is pretty close to its taxation capacity. Lower Egypt is doing okay in that regard. Eastern Thrace is doing okay in that regard. Ormio with its 1.7 million people. Thrace, Constantinople is 1.6 million. So like we've more in Ethiopia than in Constantinople. Only 4 infamy here for grabbing a bit more of Yemen. A few more bits of Yemen to take. Improve relations with Prussians. Okay, so the Austrians are supporting them, so this will go to a war. So we will look to blitz them quickly. Come and grab one of our generals here. Just this guy here should be sufficient. Get him onto that front real quick. Should be able to overrun this real fast. There's war. And they are fully up. We'll just wait for our victory and then for the Austrians to leave. Let's try getting migration controls. 2 more weeks and then this war's over. And there is the GG. And we need to... Oh, I'd noticed I'd got really big there. Steel is borderline productive. So we can come into our arms industry and start using some steel. We'll use a lot of steel. We now have a steel shortage. Central banking, that's quite helpful. Steel is now like massively profitable. General staff, garnish inventory required. Building coal. Pan Nationalism will now take 11 years. Let's get propulsion caps so that we can actually make munitions. We can gain some prestige or annoy the landowners. Take the prestige. The Ripper is still at it. We will allow the police to investigate. Start making explosives. We'll massively ramp up our coal production. Let's build some let's increase our construction capacity 10. And the Ripper is in arms. Boy at 40. We're running positive because we're coming out of the investment pool currently. Are we going to get migration controls at the first tick? We didn't. Damage relations with Jez so we can attack them. There's percussion caps, so we can now get munition plants online. Egyptian Gondor here has population, and we will make munition plants here. There is crystal glass. Back to society, we want to get with more of these Tech 2s so we can get to Pan Nationalism quicker. There's migration controls, that's brilliant. Bring in some Belgian guns, American guns, you know. What are they famous for? Tobacco is in negative, coffee's in negative. We can actually produce both of those domestically, and sugar isn't profitable. So if we come over to Yemen here, it doesn't have a lot of people. So we come down to Ormio, that's more. Somaliland, make some coffee. Come over to Amra here, make some tobacco. Iron and tools are expensive. Small arms, opium is now expensive as well. We're using opium though. No, Ethiopian general. We can get expert offensive planner from the landowners. Yes, please. Buildings point of view, construction. I think we want to make sure the rural place is being always built because it comes out of investment fund. We now have munitions, so we can shift to using even more lead to make crystal glass and munition plants. So if we shift one of our barracks is, say, our militia over to using ammunition, we'll need 38 ammunition. The munition plants now have a use for it, but they have a lead deficit. Come back here and shift glass back down. You need lead. Okay, so now our munition plant is cost effective. It's making explosives. It's taking explosives, it's taking lead, and it's making ammunition, which we are using in our conscription centers. Still not hugely cost effective. We do need more lead. Look at Sinai here, which is one of the other places that can make. Sinai population is up now to 105. It started at 20. More lead going here. If we shift our glass back up using crystal glass, we'll make the lead more appealing. Well, we've driven our coal cost nice and low. That's brilliant. Okay, so we now have motor industries as well. Look to use our first engines. Oh, engines can be spent here to generate more clippers. Oh, 60 engines. That's the first place we can spend engines. So we will do that. And then we will look to get rail going. We don't have enough iron. Build more iron. There's some more iron coming online now. Iron and wood. Oh, we're out of wood now. Okay, we have exhausted a lot of our bad boy points, so it's time to go back expanding. Come over here and take out Quasimid State. They're fearful. Oman, and they've just backed down. Come and look at our subject to Jez here. Yeah, we need to get our relations lower with them. Oman, conquer them. Persia will side with them. That's interesting. Let's take out Hail. We need to just do a blitz here to get... So we nearly have all of Yemen. We need to take out Jamal Shamar and Nej to add some more, and then we'll come back to the Ottomans. Take Basra, say. Jez is willing to join our side. The Ottomans are willing to join their side. The Ottomans join. I will take some land off them. Oman has joined them. I'll take Oman off them. Nej has joined. Yes, I want Nej. The British are trying to sway us in a diplomatic play against the Ottomans, offering the revoke claim on Eastern Thrace to join them. I'll accept that. What are they? They're looking to take Tripoli. Yeah, they're not looking to take anything we need. I'll accept that play. Now let's go spend some more points. Let's conquer Oman. Let's conquer Nej. Let's conquer Nej Hail. Can't go to war. They're not backing down. Let's mobilize all my army. I also have a war coming up with the Ottomans. I don't need to engage just yet. This one I do need to engage. Send our top general to crush the Omans. Send our next best general to crush this front. There's war with Jamal Shah. Austria is joining the Ottoman side. Spain is joining the British side. Bit of a global war here over a couple of treaty ports. Have I not got troops arriving on this front? I do. No front opened here because this is impassable land across the Arabian desert. Okay, we're taking an L. They're early doors. Are we holding them? I think we're holding them. Are we going to hold them? No. There's war on the Ottomans. I need to get the rest of my army up here. And recruit another general in the Nile. This guy mobilized. And on this front, I'm going to need to activate some conscripts as well. Two different wars happening here. Need to make sure I have lost some land here, so Serbians have deployed here. We might need to look at where our troops are positioned. British forces have now joined this front. We can just overrun Oman. Closed frontier. Got the victory. Austrians are pushing in our north. Somewhat concerning. Eastern Thrace been occupied. Okay, so I've now opened up a front with Hail. There's too many fronts. Jamal Hail has capitulated. Okay, so let's just get some W's going here. Hard times in the Yemen. We're negative against Nej. I need to get another general onto that front quickly. So I now have a general on that front, and I now outnumber them, but I'm suffering some losses. They've occupied some territory. So we're outnumbered on our northern front with the Ottomans. We outnumber the enemy on the Libya front. We are advancing on Nedge. Risk here on this Nedge is that I'm not retaking my own land. I'm advancing through them, which is useful for diminishing their war score, but I am suffering exhaustion points as well because I'm occupied as well. So I'm going to switch one of the generals to defend. Oman has finally capitulated. Let's start incorporating Oman. Oman has an infrastructure issue. We'll get rid of all its fishing, say, and we'll increase its port. Nedge has finally given up. So we just have the one war now. Generous donations. Oh, this is an interesting event. I don't think I've seen this. So after receiving a notice of horrors from the citizens of Hale have been enduring, solidarity among the nations have raised by many who wanted to donate to the cause. We've accepted donations from Prussia. Relations with them gain 30 points. Hale gets famine donations for 5 years plus 2 standards of living for the lower strata. Or we can get help from the French, or we can help the landowners do this instead. We will take help from the French. Now, let's go grab my... Send one of our generals into... Okay, we're out of the British War, and we didn't suffer anything. We also didn't gain anything. Unbalanced trade and Nedge. Imports, exports. Lower strata become more radical. Sure. 9 years now. Let's gain psychiatry. If we look now at our culture screen, we have 14 of the 16 required. Just taking Hijaz will give us what we need. Going to expel their diplomats. We can make them a puppet. French are going after Tripolinia. I don't care. I do sort of care. It's my neighbour, but the Ottomans are siding with Jets. What's our bad boy state? Minus 50. So can we really afford to take big land off the... Let's take Basra. And then revoke their claim on their capital. And revoke their claim on Dana. Okay, we'll mobilize our military. Let's crush our rebels quickly. Then deal with this front. Still have enough generals? We do. Oh, they back down. We just puppeted. We now count as having all the territories. We just need to get Pan Nationalism. Let's look at our military and shift more of our military over to be skirmish. This will take another 40. Build more munition plants, which requires more... There's no population down here. You don't need all this wheat. 25,000 unemployed people, so let's get you some lead. Hi from the back. Humiliated by the recent military defeat, many people have directed the blame at Afar in Egypt, claiming that it betrayed our war effort on the home front. Petty bourgeoisie gets stabbed in the back for 5 years. They get interest group approval, interest group attraction. So do the Sunni ulama. Yeah, sure. Rifling complete. Modernizing the arsenal. Get 20% arms industry throughput and migration into Cairo for 9 years. Or the other option is 5% and 10%. So yeah, I'll take that one. That one looks pretty good. Let's shift to philosophy departments in our single university, and let's start building groceries for the fun. French have puppeted Tripilani. Red and blood. Egyptian Somaliland's suffering from great famine effects. I wish there was more we could do for them. Actually, let's have a quick look. Which of the production goods do we have the biggest bounty on? Steel, glass, dye. Okay, let's make more dye. Wood, hardwood, and iron. We need more logging. We need more dye. We need more iron. We need more sulfur. And we will need more coal. So let's get more coal so I can make more of everything else. And increase our dye. And let's increase opium. Motor industries, not cost effective. Let's get more railing. Spend more tools to make more coal. Spend more coal to make more iron. Need more tools. Let's just drop 5 into Thrace. We'll put one at the top of the queue and we'll move the other ones down. Thrace, 2 years more. Psychiatry, a close week to Pan Nationalism now. 8 years. Just keep researching. Demo will join them. Gamma will join them. Oh, no, Okay, later movements spreading. Grab that instead. Okay, this one looks like going to war, so let's just add 1, add 2, let's add them all. Bastards back down. 500,000 people. How much gold do we make? 600, only plus 14, we need to make some more. No hesitancy in Dana, so let's get 5 in Lebanon. And 5 iron in Eastern Thrace. Let's max out some wood. Here. And lead in Sinai. We're going to shift our lead mines over to rail transport as we have population issues in the 2 places that they're based in. And we're going to shift our coal over as well. Never other than next year war goals here. We're going to war. 2 fronts. There's 3 fronts. Yep, there's 3 fronts. Need 1 more general. 1 on each. Okay. Central archives completed. Very nice. Get the filling cabinets. I love bureaucracy. 5% bureaucracy or 3,000 towards identification documents. We'll take this science. There's 2 fronts now. One of which is just actually mopping up land in our own place after we've already conquered them. And this is the last of the fronts. They're fully occupied, all 3 countries. I'm just waiting for their 13 weekly war score to eliminate. 3 weeks later, there's capitulation. More tooling, nice. 20,000 peasants. Only got access to our market. Palestine can have a railway, as well as some ports. Amra needs a railway. 5 livestock, they'll build a railway. What's going to spread to us next? Quinning. It was Malaga was the next most populated place, wasn't it? Yeah, 500,000 people here. Industrial boom, thank you very much. Ooh, sell man of wars to the British. Oh, it looks like Wellaga's got a friend. Well, let's crush them before they have a chance to join. Oh, get out of the way, Hijaz. What am I getting out of this? War reps. Disappointing. No, I get to conquer them. Sweet. That is a mighty beard. Okay, they're fully occupied. Let's pull the same Algeria trick again. War's over. It's 37. Is there a truce with the Ottomans? We don't have a truce with the Ottomans. But we still have an alliance with... We have an offensive pact with Bahrain, Greece, Montenegro, Serbia. Conquer Western Thrace. Austria might side with the enemy. Austria is in a war at the moment. And Austria is still just on line infantry. Queenine, I think I do want triage. Let a bad boy take down. There's quinine, and then I want triage. Toolings, then all the coal, all the wood. Get everyone over to skirmish. Let's expand munitions to level 10. There's triage. Shift over to using opium now in our army. We'll need 58 and 157, so 215. And we make 100 here, 60, and we're looking to grow that to 100. We make another 40 here, and we're looking to grow that to 100. So we're looking to get to 300 opium. And nationalism will have 5 years. Just 2 tier 2s to go. We can afford more construction. Yeah, we're stockpiling gold now. Let's make it 4 years. Years for that. Get the opium to the top, the lead to the top as well. We are just going to max out our ports. Other industries are working. Arms industry is working. Munitions is working. Economy scale improvement. Pan Nationalism, 3 years. Oh, let's crush the price of tools. Arms industry can change. More steel, more tools, more small arms. Krakatoa has happened. Yeah, I don't care about the Dutch East Indies. And Irina as well, which will use more iron. Make our iron more viable. Transjordan, however, has been affected by it. 5 years, we'd spend 12,000 a week. Nope. Arms industry is not profitable. That's not possible. Steel is too expensive. That should drive some more demand. Employ more people, 1 stack. Sell more. Artillery as well. There's a serfdom. Oh wow. Okay, let's go to serfdom, so. Revolution. Most of my country. Pan Nationalism unlocked. Cultures. Nation formation. Form Arabia. Boom. For Arabia. Muhammad Ali's ambition achieved. Wonderful stuff. That wasn't too difficult. And to clarify, you didn't need to hold all 3 parts of Thrace. You just needed to hold some of Thrace. And I think crucially, it was Constantinople that you needed to hold. So that's how that one's done. Thank you for watching. If you watched this far, you've obviously liked the content. So give it a little like down below. It really does help. And if you want to stay up to date with more of my Victoria 3 content, please subscribe. Let me know in the comments what challenge you would like to see next. The other ones put forward to the community in the vote last week were the miners, not miners, and I voted for Pedro. Yeah, and there's also been a request for the Jiria challenge as well. Okay, thank you for watching. I've been Garner, you've been awesome. Catch you on the next one.